I'm Diego Cordovez with Adam Schoenfeld. Welcome to The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. And we've got the World Series main event coverage starting on ESPN. We're going to have the final table in November. And the chip leader is Dennis Phillips, heretofore unknown.
He had $4,500 in lifetime cashes coming in. So Jerry Yang looked like Johnny Moss compared to this guy.
But you know what? By all accounts, he really played well. It's not one of those fluky things where he's drawing on people and accumulated chips. He got a big stack. He kept working the stack, building it, very steady. He's got a very steady demeanor. And for all we know, we might be one of the first to interview the next world champion. And either way, he's going in as a chip leader. He's going to be a big influence on whatever happens. So very interesting to get to know him because we really don't know anything about him.
I want to find out something about this guy. I'm going to grill him.
You're like a detective.
Yeah, I'm going to grill him.
So when they announced that the final table would be delayed, it would be in November, there was some controversy about it, and people eventually realized that as far as poker goes, it's a good thing. For you, being the chip leader, going in, being an amateur player, is this a good thing or a bad thing or no factor?
Oh, no, it's a factor. At the time, obviously, I thought it was a bad thing. I had a good read on the table. I'm sure they had a good read on me, too. But I had a good read on the table. I was on a nice roll. I had the things. We were ready to go. No, they had about prime me out of the table. Away from that chair. It's just unreal. But it's a good thing for poker, and in actuality, it's probably a good thing for me. Mm-hmm. The 117 days gives me plenty of time to get sponsors, plenty of time to get the name recognition, a lot of other benefits from it.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, as far as promoting yourself and as far as leveraging this into other benefits, there's no question. But as far as winning the event, would it have been better just to keep rolling? You're the chip leader, or on the other hand, is this an opportunity to really do some research and more preparation, especially without a lot of experience, and maybe come in a lot stronger, relatively speaking?
I was fairly comfortable when I got in there. I was ready to keep going with it. Because of the break, I'm assuming the other 8 people are going to receive coaching, going to get more training, going to improve their game. Therefore, I have to step up and do it too.
Now, you were rolling and in certain ways steamrolling the table, from what I read, but now you've taken on a coach. Actually, a friend of mine from 20 years ago, Roy Winston. Yeah. Did you ever think that it wasn't broken, so don't fix it?
Oh, absolutely.
What were your thoughts going into that decision?
Well, Roy wasn't the first one to approach me. I was approached by a number of people that I turned down. He was a persistent one. He and Joe.
Roy is persistent.
Which actually, that's not a bad thing.
It's a good quality. Yeah.
It's a good quality. I like that in a person. They flew into St. Louis. They met with me and the group that I have advising me. They were extremely impressive on it. And the other thing about it, I'm not going to be such an egotistical person to think I can improve.
Of course.
If you look at it, and not that I'm comparing myself with them, but, Jack Nicklaus had a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach. Mm-hmm. I mean, who hasn't had a coach? Can they improve my game? Absolutely. Can anybody's game be improved? Absolutely.
Well, poker players have coaches even when it's not officially a coach.
Well,
I mean, even the best players spend time getting advice and comparing hands and discussing hands. I mean, Phil Ivey's talking about hands with Barry Greenstein and so forth. So it's just a different variety. How does the coaching actually manifest itself? I mean, what is coaching in this context?
Well, again, we're just barely into this. We've only been into it for the last few days. I know what we have on plan. A lot of playing heads up against each other to analyze the game. A lot of videotaping and watching that. A lot of analysis of the other 8 people. There's a lot of advice going into it. Because he's also helping me not just with the preparation and the playing there, but he's also advising me on some other things, as far as media, as far as what publicity, as far as what tournaments to play in. Mm-hmm. It's a whole scope. He's giving me the whole package.
Do you, last year we saw Jerry Yang came in and he had a plan and he executed the plan. Mm-hmm. Are you going to have a specific game plan, do you think, for your tactics, or are you going to have to wait and react and see what's going on with the other players? Because they're all going to have plans. It's like Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Actually, it's not bad. Coming from Mike Tyson, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But when I was at the table, and then I had a plan. I had an analysis of each of the other players and the position I was on, and I was ready to play against any of them. I didn't have any problem with that. We have 2 major problems here. Number one, I have no idea of the position. They're redrawing all of those. And it's going to make a major difference whether they're on my left or my right and how I play them. So I can't make definite plans till I know where everybody's seated.
They're going to redraw right before?
Right before it, so we have no idea
that's a good idea.
Anybody's going to sit.
That's a great idea because that really minimizes the value of preparation.
Very good. I mean, for a true poker person, that position means a lot. And by actually delaying that until we're right ready to sit down and shuffle up and deal, yeah, that's a big difference on that.
Makes you think on your feet.
Oh, very much so on it. Second thing is these people have had, again, 117 days to analyze, to change, to, whatever. If I go in there assuming that they're going to play the same way they played back there in July, oh, now that's a dangerous assumption to make.
Very.
Just if they assume that I'm going to be playing the same way.
It's not just the preparation, but just the mood is different. At that time, some guys are tired, some guys are stressed, some others aren't. Some of them are on a roll, feeling really good. I mean, the whole mental state has changed so much, and that's the biggest part of poker in a lot of ways, reading who's on tilt, who's not.
You bring up a very good point. Mental attitude is a lot. At that time, I had a tremendous amount of confidence. I think some of the others were very scared at that time, which, they had, I don't blame them. In their position, I might have been the same way. Again, here we come, 117 days later. They've had time to regroup. They've had time to get coaching. They've had time to take a deep breath. I mean...
How come you weren't scared there? Because you're the least experienced of the players.
You had 4,500 in cashes total before this. That's the correct figure.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the huge money differences, and how come you weren't as scared as some of the others?
I don't think my heartbeat got over 80 at any time. I had nothing to lose. I was not supposed to be there. And I'm the chip leader. I mean, if I'd have got knocked out, everybody would have said, well, you did a great run. There's no pressure on me whatsoever. So I was having fun. If I can't have fun at poker, I don't want to play poker. And believe me, I had fun.
See, as far as preparation goes, I think in a lot of ways you've actually got a big advantage, which is that the best preparation is doing research on the other players. Now, some of the other players, they're actually, even though none of them is highly famous or has been on TV a lot, there's more information about them. They've played a lot more online. They've played more in tournaments. You can really research what their tendencies are. And with you, there's a lot more of a blank slate, so they can do all the research they want. All they've got to go on is this event, really.
I think they just thought I'd ignore me. Right, no research at all, and just let it come in there.
Well, it's kind of frustrating. If they really want to get a line on your play, all they've got to go on is those couple of days, whereas you can really look into what people have done over the couple of years. Are these guys really aggressive players? How do they play certain hands? Do they have certain tendencies? And that kind of research can really benefit you.
Yeah.
Now, ESPN has just started showing the main event, and I haven't seen any coverage of you yet. How did your first couple of days go? Because we know about the last couple of days, but how did the first few days go for you?
I was totally under the radar for the first about 4 days. I really didn't come in there until with Voss, when I took him out the very last play. I think it was day 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Voss.
Yeah, Mark
was that a key hand?
Oh, absolutely. I had about 1.8. I mean, I was rising in the rankings and that, but he had 1.5. I doubled up, basically. It's the first time I broke the top 10.
How did that hand come down?
Last hand of the day, and I mean, it was one of those hands you dream about. Mark had sat down there with about 2.8 million.
And he's a very aggressive player who likes to
He's a very, very good player.
Yeah.
He's an aggressive player. And he was playing, and he was taken down on a couple of different hands, and had dwindled the stack down to about 1.5. He was not on tilt, but he's what I call a soft tilt on it. That he
it's
really,
a polite way of saying he was on tilt.
He's too good a player to be really on tilt. But he was not happy. Let's put it that way, okay?
Right.
And in his position, I wouldn't have been either. So that's fine. But I had the perfect position. I had the perfect hand, the whole bit like that on it. I make a raise. He comes over the top. I make a ridiculous overbet pre-flop on it. I had folded a couple of others when people had come up against me on it. So he pushes in, and I insta-call on it. He has ace-king, I have pocket aces.
Yeah, perfect.
It was perfect. It was. It couldn't have been, it couldn't have been written better. I mean...